Happy Friday afternoon. I hope you have incredible plans for this weekend. And one of those things might very well be knocking some of the barriers out of the way that are keeping you from being who you want to be as a solopreneur, as a coach partner. I'm Meg Rentschler. I am the host of the Star Coach Show, and I wanted to meet with you today to address sort of the elephant in the room. The reality is often particularly as newer coaches, but you know what? The reality is I see this with coaches who have been coaches for years that overwhelmed by all the advice, all the strategies, all the voices in your head telling you what to do. This is not a psychiatric diagnosis of the voices in your head. It's the reality that we are in a super saturated market where people have lots of ideas for what you should be doing. And I was there. I get it. I totally get it. I now have had the honor to work with over 2,000 coaches to get past this barrier and help really get traction in business. So let's just address the fact that being a solopreneur is often a difficult place to be. I suspect that most people who go into coaching have had a different career first. They have been in corporate America, or they have been in a small business of somebody else's, or they've been an employee, or maybe they've been, you know, a, a parent who is now getting back into the world. But often the coaches that I work with have been in an environment where they have support, they have teams, they have different departments doing different things, and they walk into this place of being a business owner, and there can be a huge information overwhelm. Can I hear like amen? I mean, I clearly remember, and I walked into this space almost 20 years ago. So the information overload wasn't even as bad as it is now. And it felt really bad then. And I know that it's really bad now. So it's like, there's courses and webinars and different people telling you different things. And you might be like, well, Meg, isn't that what you're telling me? Well, I just want to give you a strategy today, something that you can apply. You can use it or not use it, but to help you break through to allow some kind of a filter to help you with the barrage of information that you get. Now, the other thing that I hear coaches say is like, who do I trust out there? I get that as well. And if you're not familiar with me, you might be very much like saying, and why am I supposed to trust you? However, I am pleased to say that I've had 17 years now of teaching and mentoring, and 9 years of that doing the Star Coach Show, where I'm getting in front of coaches consistently. And my message is the same. I really am passionate about helping coaches get into the world. So trust me or not trust me, luckily, I'm happy to say that I've built trust with many coaches, and whoever you trust, whoever you've built that relationship with, that helps cut through the swirl, right? So whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, my whole thing is that trust factor is huge. And we're going to give you a filter to kind of help with that as well. The other thing, and I would love your comments about whether you're experiencing this, but something that I experienced and something that I consistently hear is a huge struggle is the isolation that comes with going from one work environment into working for yourself. There is this concept of like, I'm supposed to figure it all out by myself. I'm going to second guess things. Things sound good in here, but then when they come out of my mouth, they don't sound as good. Or should I do this or this? It's like that ping pong. I still sometimes ping pong around about where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do. But I will tell you, it's that not having any place to ground into that can create a real challenge for solopreneurs. Another struggle. So I just want to kind of lay the struggles out to see, is this you? Is that I can coach anyone trap that we can fall into, because we know that coaching skills work regardless of the specialty. They work regardless of the organization. You don't have to be a nuclear scientist to be able to coach a nuclear scientist. However, we know that while the coaching process is transferable and very powerful, when it comes to building a thriving business, being a jack of all trades versus a specialist is going to impact the traction you get. That's what reality is. And so one of the things that I just want to kind of lay out right now is that we're all at different stages, and we all are doing different things for different reasons. So when I first became a coach, I wanted to coach lots of different people. I kind of wanted to be a jack of all trades. I had in my mind who I wanted to work with and what that would look like. And yet I took the time to coach lots of different people, small business owners, leaders, mid-level leaders, senior leaders, C-suite people, um, you know, people who weren't even business owners or small business. I mean, like, so in other words, I did a lot of different coaching because my priority at that point was to build my experience, build my hours, and see who the heck I like to coach and what kinds of results I got. So I'm not diminishing that. And if you're listening to this and you're like, Meg, I want to coach a lot of people right now because I want to get clarity about who I ultimately want to work with and what kinds of results I get, 100% behind that. And I will say that even in that, it is a path towards clarity. And the paradox of the way business works is as we begin to zero in and get more and more clear about who we work with, it expands our opportunities. It makes us more magnetic for the kinds of people that we want to work with. Now, it comes back to, and I did a live yesterday about this, about like, how do we speak about what we do in a way that attracts the people that we want to get their attention? And this was really difficult for me right out of the gate. I had been a therapist for over 20 years. It was pretty easy to say, Meg, what do you do? I'm a marriage therapist. I'm a family therapist. People kind of knew what that was. And there wasn't a lot of need to help kind of educate people into what that was. When I became an executive coach, the struggle with that really began, so much so that I would sometimes avoid saying I was an executive coach because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say if people say, what do you do? Because I didn't want to get into coach speak, which is what I talked about yesterday. So I kept thinking to myself, if I could just get really clear about what I do and the results that it brings, everything would be so much easier. And spoiler alert, it really was. It was so much easier once I got clearer. So let's talk about clarity. And, I've got some dear friends who say that clarity is overrated. I totally get that. And yet, when we're in the spin, it's really difficult to get any kind of traction. So I believe that ultimately we are working towards clarity of two essential messages. First of all, the clarity of our message. What are we saying and who are we saying it to? I also believe that a huge element of clarity in our message is that we get clear about our purpose? What about this work matters to you? And how does that influence your clients? So when we get these two essential clarities, clarity of message, clarity of purpose, it really helps our path forward. But clarity is really hard. There is such a swirl of information. We're consuming conflicting information. I mean, in life, right? But certainly regarding who we serve, the results we get, what we should be saying, what we should be doing to build our businesses, all that shoulding on ourselves. So once again, I go back to sorting that out is that much more difficult when we try to do it just on our own. Just because when we've got a swirl up here and we're trying to sort that out on our own, it's so much easier to have a sounding board in that. So let's throw out some ideas of what really works when we're in that swirl. First of all, having support from your peers who might be in the same place, support from people who have been there and are able to see the other side of that. Following a proven roadmap rather than reinventing the wheel. Now we go back to, but who do I trust? Well, who have you established trust with? Who do you believe, is ahead of you in the path in a way that you trust and want to follow them in that? When we walk alongside people that we trust, when we have a community of people to help us with that journey, it makes it so much easier. When you work with somebody, I would encourage you, whether it's a peer or you're hiring somebody to work with, how intimately do they know the pain that you're experiencing? And what is their solution to help you get past that pain? So here's our takeaway for today. I want to give you a practical takeaway that hopefully you can apply this strategy and begin to get some of the spin stopped. So the strategy that I want to give you is the clarity filter. And with the clarity filter, I want you to hold this up sort of as your measuring stick, as the thing that you filter things through. Before you implement any new strategy or take advice from someone, ask yourself these 3 questions. Are you ready? Okay, so on our clarity filter, we're going to start with the first question. Does this strategy, does this advice, does this path that I'm going to walk on align with who I want to serve? So things like, is this going to help me reach my ideal client? Or is it just going to be more noise in an oversaturated environment because it's not speaking specifically to who I want it to speak to? Because if we're not speaking specifically to someone, our noise is probably, our wisdom becomes just noise that kind of goes into the atmosphere. So will this strategy tool, whatever it is that you're doing, will it help you reach your ideal clients? Does it speak to the specific problems that your people are facing? So we want that to be aligned with who you serve by, will it help you reach your ideal clients? Does it speak to their specific problems? And are the people that you want to work with going to recognize themselves in what it is that you're offering? When they read what you put out there or listen to your voice, are they going to say, yeah, that person gets me? That's the very first thing. So our first exercise in our clarity filter is, does this align with who I want to serve? And you can ask those 3 questions that I just talked about. The second clarity filter is, and this is so key because it doesn't matter if it does not naturally fit with how you work and communicate. So that's the second question to ask yourself. Does this fit with how I naturally work and communicate? Don't try to make it, if you're a square peg, don't make yourself fit into a round hole. It's okay. There are round holes to fit in. and there are square holes for the square pegs. So you don't have to make yourself fit something that doesn't feel natural to you. So ask yourself these questions under, does it fit with how I naturally work and communicate? Does it feel authentic to me? Or am I trying to be somebody that I'm not? Can I sustain this approach or will it drain me? I think that one of the things that, even though sometimes doing the show was a heavy lift, and sometimes now it's like, oh, I've got to get, a batch of shows done or whatever, or I've got an interview today, or yeah, I get that there's a lot of moving parts with it, but this is my point about that. If I wasn't naturally excited, if I didn't like to kind of meet people and interview them and talk to them, if that wasn't a natural part of what I do, the Star Coach Show never would have flown. I couldn't have done it consistently every week for 9 years. So you've got to figure out, with whatever I'm going to do, can I sustain it or is it going to drain me? Because if it's going to drain you, pick something else. Sustainability and consistency is absolutely core. And then the third question to ask yourself under, does it fit with how I naturally work and communicate, is this, was whatever I'm doing, does it leverage my natural strengths and style? So if getting in front of a camera and doing a live gives you hives, then that's probably not the thing, right? So that's your second. Your first question, does it align with who I want to serve? The second one, does this fit naturally with how I work and communicate? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the third element of your clarity filter. And that is, will this help my ideal client find and understand me? Because when we're in the coaching partnership, it's all about the client. It's not about the coach. When you're in a place of standing out in a crowded market, it's about your potential clients understanding you, being drawn to you, understanding what your message is for them. So that's the third element. So ask yourself these questions under, will this help my ideal client find and understand me? First of all, does this make what I do clearer or more confusing? Obviously, we want to move towards the clarity piece, right? Clearer or more confusing? Second, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Second, will someone know exactly what working with me would look like? So as we're putting things out there, how clear are we making what a partnership with us would look like? And the third bullet under, will this help my ideal client find and understand me, is, does this differentiate me, make me stand out from the crowd, or does it make me sound like everyone else? We obviously want to stand out in the crowd. So I've given you this filter. How the heck do you use it, right? Like, okay, Meg, you've given it to me. Now what? Well, here's the rule. All three questions must be a clear yes before you implement that strategy or you take on that particular task or marketing idea or whatever. So even if one is maybe or no, even if it's just one of them, set it aside for now. There are other strategies that you will get 3 yeses to. You can revisit the ones later that you've set to the side, but this isn't about choosing whether it's good advice or bad advice. It's about whether it's right for you right now as you're trying to get traction. So let's talk about some examples. So maybe I'm wondering, I wonder if I should start doing TikTok videos. My first question, are my ideal clients on TikTok actively looking for coaching? I don't believe that my ideal clients are on TikTok looking for coaching. Maybe they are. My gut tells me maybe not. So the first one is maybe. The second question, do I enjoy creating short form video content? Now, I'm actually fine with it, but let's pretend like the answer would be no. I don't like doing short content. And actually, I probably am not good at short, right? We all know I keep talking. So the answer to that, let's say, is no. The third question, can I clearly communicate my coaching value in 60 seconds? And let's say not yet. Maybe I'm just new at this and I'm not able to do that yet. So the result of that filter, looking at do I put my stuff out on TikTok for attention, is not now. The it doesn't pass the filter test. It's not a good match for me. So let's say, okay, if I'm not going to do that, maybe I want to write a LinkedIn article about the challenges my clients face. So I got to go through the filter again. Question number one, are my corporate clients on LinkedIn? Yeah. Are my clients who are coaches on LinkedIn? Usually, yeah. So the answer to that would be yes. Question two, do I enjoy writing and sharing insights? We all know that I prefer to do video and podcasting, but let's pretend that I really enjoyed writing. And the answer to that was yes. Question three, will this show exactly who I help and how? Absolutely. If I'm out there writing about my clients' challenges and providing suggestions or strategies and tools and resources, then yes, that meets that as well. So it's check, check, check. And that is a green light. If I'm following the filter, writing LinkedIn articles about my clients' challenges would get a green light. And that might be where I put my energy and my focus. What this filter will save you is months of feeling scattered, trying this for a second, trying that for a second, then going over here and that, and feeling like you're not getting traction anywhere. Because I will tell you this, when you run things through the filter and you make a choice, stick with it for a little bit. Let it get some traction. It's also going to save you money on, let me try this, or let me throw money at this, or let me throw money at this. I have many stories about things that I've done that I wish I hadn't done. And I think that it's all about process and where are we at this particular time. So maybe, it would save you money in courses or investing in things that you're just not ready for yet or just aren't a fit. Energy. Oh my goodness. Our energy, we need to protect our energy. It is exhausting being a business owner sometimes. So we want to be able to not constantly second guess ourselves, but actually have a process. Like, this is my filter. I ran it through the filter, so I don't need to second guess, like, oh, maybe I shoulda, woulda, coulda. No, I ran it through the filter. It was or was not a good fit for me, and I'm going to move on from there. It also really helps with saving you from confusion. When we try to do too many different things and we're just too scattered, we don't give our best to anything. So it really helps us streamline our focus. Now, this is a filter that I use myself. It's a filter that I've used with my coaching clients who are coaches. And I got to tell you, it really helps coaches with their struggle. It's something that might help you when you wish, oh my gosh, I wish I'd figured that out sooner. Well, let's start applying this filter. And it's really a practical way to cut through all the noise that swirls around and all the voices in your head. So you might be thinking, okay, that's great, Meg, but I don't even know who I want to work with yet, or I don't have any clarity. I've got lots of scatter. And I would say, I get it. I get that. And that's exactly why I created the 5-day Enroll More Clients Clarity Challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a free 5-day, I call it a sprint, because really we are getting in there and we are going to work together to help speak with clarity and confidence about what it is that we do. Next week, beginning Monday through Friday, we're going to meet every day at 8 a.m. Central. But if you can't meet, it's okay. Enroll and you'll get the worksheet and you'll get the recording so that you can get some traction. I really want you to get traction. I hear coaches in my head all the time, but often not just in my head, but through their mouths in front of me saying, I just don't know how to do this. I just am frustrated about this. I'm not getting out there and getting my work out there because I just don't know how to do it. And that hurts my heart. So what we're going to do is spend 5 days together and just put aside maybe 30 to 45 minutes a day to do the exercise, to join the community and get crystal clear about who you want to work with and how to get their attention. We can't create compelling marketing and have confident sales if we don't know who we're talking to. So I want to help you with that, but not just me, but other coaches in the challenge. We're all going to help one another because your sustainable business is what helps keep you doing what you really love doing and not feeling pulled into having to do something else. So what we're going to do is every single day, we're going to have a focused exercise. You're going to get community support. You're going to get a framework to follow. And I invite you to join us because as I lay awake at night, sometimes worried about the coaches that I work with, I want them and I want you to really be able to lean into the work that you love. And that really starts with this clarity sprint. So enrollment is open right now. You can either go to starcoachshow.com and a pop-up is going to pop right up that invites you to join, or I'm going to put a link in the comments right now for you to be able to enroll if you're interested in that. This is the deal. I am doing this because I've been in 5-day challenges before that have really moved the needle for me. So I wanted to do that for the people who listen to the show, people who I've taught, people who might be meeting me at this exact moment, and really get the barriers out of the way. I also believe that there is incredible power when we come together and create the synergy to do something powerful. So I invite you to join me. Would love to have you. StarCoachShow.com. You can grab it there. You can grab it at the link. I look forward to seeing you there. And thanks for your time. Don't forget, you can apply your clarity filter beginning today. Take care.